Graffiti and street art have always been a controversial issue, but recently they have amassed importance in Bristol's culture. Seen globally on buildings, trains, walls and beyond, it has become impossible to avoid this form of public art. But where did it all begin? How has it changed? And what do the people of Bristol think about it? The origins of street art can be traced back to 1960s New York, where artists took to the subway system to create works that spoke for marginalised communities. The competitive tagging of their pieces on the trains caused an explosion in the exposure of, and interest in, this new art form. Its subversive nature and status as a cultural phenomenon caught the attention of Bristol-based artists who helped to change the face of this new scene. Whilst Banksy is the figurehead of bringing public appreciation to British graffiti, another key artist is Robert Niamh, also known as 3D, who rose to prominence in 1983.
People see that it started not in the capital city where everyone likes to think life begins in London, but it started in the suburbs of Bristol and places like Birmingham.
His work also played a seminal part in drawing the media's attention to the Bristol graffiti scene, through his most famous collaboration with the groups Massive Attack and The Wild Bunch, providing lead vocals and producing their iconic album art. And Bristol was put on the map as a city with a cultural legacy so strong that it still reverberates today. We decided to explore the lasting impact of Bristol's artistic heritage, asking the question as to what role it plays in today's society, and whether its legacy, as a form of protest, is still prominent.
Come on.
Pans off. What made you become a street artist?
The thing that attracted me to it, I think, was just the fact that it's free for anyone to look at.
Artists get stuck in their own little cubby hole in their room or their studio. I find them kind of one of the best sources of inspiration is other people, events in the world, things like that.
You don't have to go to can I swear?
Yeah, of course.
A wanky gallery and talk to people that look down on you, and you can just put whatever you want out there. There's no limits to that.
Is there, a message you try and send with your art? Or?
I'll write little things if there's something, like at the moment, obviously a lot of stuff going on politically, and sometimes I'll make hints to that, but at the same time I don't like my art being too political. I like it just being something that looks pretty.
Has any of your work ever been tagged or painted over?
Yeah, it's happened a lot.
Almost all of it, at some point.
It's part of the scene.
That's part of the game.
I've had the council take out my work as well. Art's ephemeral at the end of the day. Even the most prestigious artists and galleries worldwide, it's a single piece of matter in a universe that's going to eventually be destroyed. So,
is there any piece that was painted over that you were like, that kind of vibe?
Because when I get commissioned in a pub or something, or a bar, and then go back there a few years later and there's just like a beer advert on top of it, that stings a little bit.
Does the temporary nature of street art impact its significance?
Everyone knows if you go and paint on the street, it's temporary, but now it's becoming a high art form that's getting sold for millions, which kind of takes away from the point that it's painted on the street and it's not going to last.
I think the quick turnover is something that makes it beautiful. The temporary nature can put people off because they get too attached to things and want it to stay forever, but I think that's kind of nice in a way.
Do you think attitudes towards street art have changed since the 1980s?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, definitely. We're in a city that kind of has street art tours and a street art festival.
People have started to realise that public art is something that people want to see rather than just drab grey buildings or like cream walls.
Do you think that modern street art has become commodified and commercialised?
Yeah, 100%. When you get big companies commissioning artists to paint big adverts on the side of buildings, kind of a bittersweet thing, because obviously an artist is getting paid, which is never a bad thing, but it is it's slightly soulless, I think.
There's a commercial aspect to it, but I don't think it's taken away from the culture of people wanting to go out and paint the streets and put their impact on the world.
What role do you think street art plays in culture?
What someone feels at a particular time and moment, and then they, for whatever reason, they'll go out and paint that, or maybe have a political message about it, or even something to do with like sex, politics, religion, gender, all sorts.
I don't think necessarily the best street art is the stuff that's getting used commercially and in the culture as much, but it's a nice thing to have more art in the world, I think.
Do you think that the roots of street art as, an act of protest have been lost?
No. There's loads of Gaza artwork around going on at the moment. I don't think it's lost that aspect at all. It's just how different people approach it, really.
So I don't think it's been lost. I think it's been diluted, maybe.
Do you think that street art as a medium is inherently political?
I think there's political undertones in the fact that quite often you're not allowed to do it, and it raises a lot of questions, especially with I guess, the elderly generation or Tories. So I think, like, yeah, there's an undertone to it, but I don't think it needs to be. I think it can just be making something beautiful and putting it in a space where people can see it.
Obviously, this has all been built by governments and successive powers that be, and corporations and so on and so forth, as like looking at human history, and in a sense we are reclaiming the streets. It's kind of become to the point now that I think it's not inherently political now, it's accepted now, whereas 10-15 years ago it was more political in that sense.
What do you think the world or your community would be like if you didn't have street art or graffiti in it?
Pretty boring.
Boring and grey. I find when I go on holiday and I'm travelling around and I go to a place without any graffiti, it's a bit unsettling, because I wonder where are the people that do what I do.
It's like that line from Jurassic Park.
Life finds a way.
Art always finds a way.
That was lovely.
Yo! Do you think graffiti is vandalism or art? Art.
Well, I think it varies. It's all on a spectrum.
I think it depends on the context.
Banksy stuff, I think, is art, but I think when they go and just tag stuff on motorway bridges and things like that, I think that's more graffiti.
It's a work of passionate art. It's an expression of the heart.
Do you think graffiti is an integral part of Bristol's culture?
Oh, 100%, yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. Before I moved here, I knew more about the graffiti scene than anywhere else, that I'd even lived.
It's always dependent on how you use it. I don't think you should weaponize it, but I think it brings a sense of beauty to the community.
And when they take that away, I think it's taking away the character of the area.
Do you think graffiti can be used as an effective form of protest?
Yeah, it can. They say a picture's worth 1,000 words.
Yeah, I think definitely. The whole illegal thing is because they don't want a certain message to be spread, and that's exactly how you spread the message. That's how you bring attention to it. That's coming from the people, right? You can't have a government mandate graffiti in anywhere.
Yeah, definitely. Stokescroft, Gloucester Road, Palestinian flag.
Anything can be used as protest, I guess, if you use it in the right way.
Do you think that street art has to have a message?
It doesn't need to stand for anything, it can just be something attractive to look at.
It doesn't have to have a message, but I think inherently people interpret it as something.
No, I don't. Art can be for art's sake.
Us as viewers put a message onto the art, so in that sense maybe everything does have a message, but it doesn't have to be made with that intent.
It's clear that graffiti has gained more popularity in Bristol, but does it still serve its purpose as a tool for protest? And what place will it have in our future?
That's too funny.